WHHI-TV, where the Lowcountry comes to speak.
WHHI-TV,
where communities come to speak. I am delighted to have Carolyn Grant here, who's the communications director here at the town of Hilton Head. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
And as you can see, we are social distancing. Carolyn has chosen to wear a mask, and I have not, but we are 6 feet apart, so I do feel comfortable in having a conversation with you. How about you?
Thank you. Yes, I'm very comfortable. I've gotten used to wearing the mask all the time. So.
Yes, exactly, being at the offices.
And mine is actually kind of plain. I do have some cool cloth ones, but I usually wear a disposable one.
Yeah, well, because you use them so frequently, yes. And that's hard. But so we are social distancing. So today we have a lot to talk about, Carolyn. I mean, in the last couple of weeks between the July 4th celebration and lots of tourism, and all of a sudden we found out that it's the law. We have to wear a mask. Tell me about that. How did that come about?
So the town council actually passed this law last week, asking residents, visitors, everybody to, when you come to Hilton Head or if you live in Hilton Head, you need to wear a mask. The ordinance specifically directs people to wear a mask whenever they're inside of a commercial establishment. But we've gotten lots of questions from people on when they're, on what type of establishment, if they're in a gym or if they're in a medical office or, even if they're on the beach. But it's very, very specific. You don't have to wear one when you're outdoors by law. But we still encourage people when you're outside, when you're in a crowd of people, when you can't social distance from people, put on a mask to protect yourself and to protect them.
I think it's a great idea. Even when you go on the beach, when you have the pass to get on and everybody's going by, you can see everybody just holding their breath. Mm-hmm. I put the mask on until I get to the beach, and then I take it off when I have open space.
Right.
Because it floats in the air. I mean, we still are getting different statistics about what it does, how long it lasts. Someone coughs or somebody's mask, it's 3 feet, 4 feet, however that goes. So we have to have when we're indoors, and there's a lot of retailers here say you can't come in our store unless you wear it.
Right.
So we really want everybody to, because we need to bring the spike back down.
Right. And we appreciate all of those retailers and other businesses that are complying with the ordinance, putting up signs asking people to wear the mask before entering into their business. And some were doing that even before the ordinance was passed.
Right.
So so this just kind of adds to to their activity. Our code enforcement officers from the town have started going out, kind of visiting with businesses to educate them, see if they are in compliance with the ordinance. So.
Yeah, well, in the last couple of weeks, I think we've had a big change, and you feel safer. So that's how safe we can feel at this time. All right, so we talked about that. The other thing, there's a lot of different things happening in our community, like the parking. I know we have the parking study of the town before we had coronavirus come to us. We had so many things that are thriving, our recs and parks and our parking. So tell us about the update about how we're doing them with that study.
Okay, so for the parking study, we just this week put out a survey on our website. So if you go to hiltonheadislandsc.gov, on our website there is a portal for open town hall. And that has a lot of questions pertaining to parking. So, as you probably know, parking is always an issue, especially in some of our heavy areas like the Caligny Beach parking lot, or the Dreesen Beach parking lot, or the Chaplin community parking. So we're trying to figure out the best solution for parking, because whenever the tourist season starts, we know that we're going to get a lot of calls about how full some of our parking lots become. So we're trying to look at a way to best remedy that situation. So we're working with Walker Consultants, which is a national consulting firm, to do a study about parking and see what kind of recommendations. So we're in the phase where we need public input. So we're asking the public to go on to Open Town Hall and share your feedback on parking. And it does give a list of all of the parking lots that are included in this particular study. So if you live near any one of these areas, or if you happen to be somebody who frequently parks in any of these parking lots, we want to hear back from you.
To our viewers, that's a great idea because we do need help. I think there's a lot of smart people on this island, and they've all had these different experiences, and somebody might have an idea that we just didn't think about.
Right.
So do go to the website and try that out, because it's an island and we only have so much green space. So we have to be smart about that. And I'm sure we can't do high rises or anything like that. So that's a great idea. So continuing on, another topic we want to talk about, the leadership program of Hilton Head Island, they put the sunscreen dispensaries, and they're evaluating that. What is an update about that?
So Leadership Hilton Head Bluffton, which is a Chamber of Commerce program, each year that class does a project.
Right.
So the class this year chose to do what they're calling the sunshine stands, and it involves placing sunscreen dispensers in our parks. So they raise funds and purchase the stands, purchase the sunscreen, and then work with the town to place those dispensers in restrooms at 5 of our community parks. Right. And so they already placed them in those parks. And their whole goal is to educate people and protect people about skin cancer. So according to the American Dermatology Association, there are about 3 million new cases of skin cancer each year. So in order to address that, they're encouraging people, when you're out and about, outside, doing outside activities, make sure you put on your sunscreen. So if you go to, any one of our parks, the Rowing and Sailing Center, Chaplin Community Park, Crossings Park, Shelter Cove, you can go to either the men's or the women's restroom and put on some sunscreen and then go back outside and do your activities. Some people, before they leave home, they may have forgotten their sunscreen, or they may have forgotten their hand sanitizer. They may have forget their mask. But the whole goal is to make it readily accessible for people and keep them safe and protect them.
I think that's a great idea. Again, we live in a sunshine state, and it's one other thing that Hilton Head is looking forward to, taking care of our population and our visitors. So, and it's all you can find them in the restrooms.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So that's good. Along with the hand sanitizer and the sunscreen protection. So, all right. And the other question I have is, last time I spoke to you, we were talking about the census.
Right.
And we do have a couple minutes left, so I really want to bring that up because we still have a lot of people who have not filled them out.
Right.
And it's important for us to have those filled out. And I went online and did it maybe less than a minute. I don't have my children at home. I don't, that part. So maybe I just kept going, streamlining through it. But we want to press upon that they have to fill out this consensus. It helps our community because that's where our budgets come from too, right?
Right. So this is kind of like, your every 10-year commitment. Take the census. So right now, Hilton Head has had about a 40% self-response rate. And those are people who have taken the initiative to either complete it online, or they filled out the actual form that was mailed to them, or they may have even called into the Census Bureau to respond to questions, because you do have those options. So we are really working hard to try to get a good response rate, because that information does help determine how many representatives we have in Congress, how much money in federal funds will we get for our community for things like emergency response in schools. So it does support a lot of activities.
I just want to reiterate this because Carolyn is right. This helps us with our politics, our education, our government programs, and so please do go online and finish it.
Grants. When you think of all of these organizations that apply for different grants, they need data.
They
and so
do
this
need data.
Yeah,
Yes.
this data helps. What's important to know is, before we got pulled into this whole pandemic, the census was actually getting ready, getting their census takers prepared to go door to door as they normally have done. So this is the first year that they've done the census online, but they're still getting their census takers ready to go door to door to visit those homes where people have not responded.
Right.
And so they do have a plan to make sure that their census takers practice social distancing when they go. And I believe that process is going to start sometime in August when they'll start to see census takers going door to door.
And Carolyn, I want to thank you so much again for joining me. You give us such great information, and thank you so much for all your time and what you do in our community.
Thank you.
And we will be right back with more 843 TV.